たいっぱいありますね。ビジョンは特に何もなさそうだな。とりあえずサイモン。
Come on, don't glare at me like that, Aaliyah. I told you I'm out of my element here, remember?
This isn't the time or the place.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm just really nervous. I mean, Morgan's a legend. And now he's right in front of us, and things are all tense. I'm sure it'd give any normal agent a
い
stomach
やまあ
ache.
ね、疲れると思う、すっごい。そういう意味では確かヤリアは肝が据わってる感じがするかな。
Incidentally, Simon, why did you decide to
逆に
stop
質
working
問して
out
く
in
る
the
感じ。
field?
Don't ask. It's a long story.
I don't mind. We have lots of time, don't we? I could even make you another cup of coffee, if you like.
Fine then. I'll try to make it brief.
気になるよ。
See, I used to work out in the field. Even had my own partner. But we had a little rivalry that sort of ruined our relationship.
おほ。
It was over a woman, of course.
女絡みかーい。
We fell in love with the same girl.
女絡みかーい。そういう話かーい。
Then one day, the three of us went to go do a stakeout at a restaurant over in East Boston. I pretended to be a customer while my partner waited in the car, and she waited in the building across the way. Well, it only took a few minutes for my partner and I to lose our heads. We started engaging in this dumb contest.
いや、
to
仕
see what
事
my
中
impression
にそういう
was.
ことしてんじゃないよ。
Things were looking bad. I knew I was gonna lose. Then, something happened. Right in front of me, a customer starts choking on something. Face was pale, froth at the mouth, the whole 9 yards. I got up at once, but my partner stopped me. Didn't want us to blow our cover. So what did I do? I ignored him. Helped the guy anyway. I couldn't stand by and watch that. I couldn't help
ま
myself.
あ、人として正しい行いだと思いますけど。
Next thing I knew, I was a hero.
うん。
The guy survived, the restaurant thanked me, and I'd even managed to win the heart of you-know-who. It felt pretty good, you know, one-upping my partner right in front of his very eyes. But that was the beginning of the end. A few days later, she and I went to go get some bubble tea at a cafe in Brookline. And a man comes up to me and said,
I'm here to thank you on behalf of the person you saved in that restaurant.
おう。
Feeling a bit cocky, I said, all in a day's work, my good man, and tried to brush him away. But he held out an envelope to me and said,
うん
My client broke 3 ribs thanks to the unnecessary Heimlich maneuver you administered to him. He wants you to ensure that he'll be able to get the proper
そっち
treatment.
I thought I'd saved someone. But all I ended up doing is wasting a lot of my precious time wrapped up in an astronomically stupid court case.
うーわ、世知辛。
It also blew our cover, so our target found out about us. In the end, I was taken out of the field and banished to a meaningless job that anyone with half a brain could do. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it like that. Anyway, well, that's what happened. Of course, I also lost the love of my life and went back to being a lonesome loser.
いや、もうその彼女も大概だよ。
And that's why I hate being out in the field.
手のひら返しじゃん、ただの。そんな女、こっちから願い先だね。
Oh, come on. I tell you all that and you're not even gonna say anything?
That was
い
long.
や、まあ確かに長いんだけどさ。
Hey, I warned you. I told you it'd be long. Oh.
いや、うん。俺はいいと思うよ、サイモン。もうそう、むっすりすんなって、サイモン。
Agent Jones, I'm sorry for not responding to your story. It was just so bizarre. I wasn't sure what to say.
Sorry that the greatest trauma of my life ended up being too bizarre for you.
Well, what do you expect? All you ever talk about is pizza or hitting on women. Honestly, it offended me.
そうか。
I felt like I was listening to a teenage boy tell some misogynistic conquest story.
Whoa, whoa, Aaliyah, hold on a minute here. Despite how I may seem to you, I am actually pretty popular with the ladies.
俺はさっきの話割と同情したん
And
だ
you
け
know
ど、
that coworker of mine? She's the
こ
one
う
who
いう
came
感じにな
on
って
to
くる
me.
と話は別だな。
Besides, I only told that story because a certain someone asked me to. It's what happens when you're a popular guy.
うん、やっぱうざ。
Is this
サイ
like
モン
some
う
big
ざ
joke to you?
今のうざ。
I'm really losing my
うん
patience
ごめん
here.
ごめん。これは俺もちょっとありえに同感。イラッとする。
You simply have yet to awaken to my
うん、
masculine
まあ、
charm.
まあ、お前は一生山褒めだわ。うん
Maybe you should try getting some more experience under
言われたくねえ、サイモンに。
Agent Jones, are you trying to get me to sue you for sexual harassment?
He's digging his own grave. Isn't he, my fairy?
Aw, come on, Morgan, not you too. I'm sure a guy like you can tell why women might find me attractive.
いや、わからんっしょ。
What's that supposed to mean?
I just mean, you know, imagine it for a minute. A woman who you wouldn't necessarily call beautiful, yet still possesses some unique charm. You see women every now and then who you wouldn't mind spending a night or two with, right? And I'm like the male version of that.
ほんまかいな。
Come on, you know what I mean.
ちょっとドタマ殴っていいっすか。
Some women just prefer a man who's a little below the norm. And they're
こ
usually with
れ
a
は
different
ア
guy
リア
each time
怒
you
っていい
see them.
ぞ。
From straight-laced
怒っていいぞ。
businessmen to gold chains and fake tans. They prefer buffet style, you know.
おーサイモンは女をどっか引っかいって言いたいのかい？
My point is, we've all got this special kind of sex appeal.
I couldn't even keep track of all the sexist remarks you made just now.
Hey, just cool it for a sec, would you? We're having a guy conversation here. This is all just strategy I'm using to try and loosen Morgan up. Trust me.
いや、適当だろ、お前。よし、じゃあ先にまたリースの写真かな。
Why would an agent as skilled as you close the Lise Clarkson case without locating her body?
Good question. Maybe we just weren't as skilled as you think back then. Isn't that right, my fairy?
まあ確かにね、ザックぐらいだったら見つけられそうなもんだけどな。
Was that truly the case?
Meaning?
Meaning there's a possibility that the body wasn't stolen,
おう。
but purposefully moved instead.
うん。
Maybe someone ordered someone else to get rid of the body,
は
or even store it in a
あ。3メー
specific
トルの
place.
巨漢の男にですか？
But who? And for what purpose?
In order to use the body for something else. You never considered that? Perhaps there's some connection between the frozen body and the fact that Sang Rouge is still being produced.
Hey, Aaliyah, how about explaining yourself clearly so that even I can follow along?
Someone extracted the ingredients to Sang
あ
Rouge
あ。
from Lise Clarkson's body. That's what you're trying to say, isn't it,
そ
Bill?
ういう話か。
So that they could go on producing the inimitable drug without Professor R.
What?
Drug addiction destroys people, physically and mentally. It makes them capable of doing anything just so they can get their hands on a fix. Abusing a corpse? That's nothing to an addict. And with your dependency, I suspect you might know just what
医
that's
療
like.
用だって言ってんだろうが。
Maybe we do. If you threaten to take this away from us, I might have to kill you both right here. And steal all your $100 bills. Oh, spine-tingling, scary stuff, isn't it, my fairy?
You sure got a twisted sense of humor there, Morgan.
Do you hear that thunder? It's probably gonna snow soon.
雷と雪って同時に来るの？
We're in Massachusetts. That's the norm for this time of year.
すごいね。
Well, I'm not used to the cold.
日本じゃまずないもんね、そんな現象。ないよね。あんの？
If possible, I'd like to finish this up before we get stuck in a snowstorm.
いや、まあ、知らんがな。
Agent Jones, after we're done here, Agent Jones, is something the matter? Snap out of it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I know.
Do you? Then stop daydreaming.
Okay. I just...
You just what?
トイレに行きたいのか？
My stomach's been letting some thunder loose, too.
Thunder?
That coffee was just so good, it
what?
いや、
We
わ
don't
かる
have
だ
all
ろ
day
う、
here.
ここまで来たら。トイレだよ、トイレ。
The coffee was
Pigolo.
just so good, it summoned
気
forth
持ちはわかる
a
よ。
massive tsunami from within me.
Excuse me? What's wrong with you?
いや、もうしょう
No,
がない
it's
じゃん。
really not the time for this.
Right
Yeah.
door at the end of the hallway.
お腹の弱さはしょうがないよ。体質だもの。仕方ないでしょ。
Thanks, pal.
俺もちょっとお腹弱いタイプなんで、とてもしょうがないと思うんです。これは俺サイモンの味方。完全に。
Hold on.
しょうがない
You
よ
can
ね。
make it. We can do this. It's not very far.
特にコーヒーの油とかね、結構そういうの来たりするからね。一気に
We
飲んだり
promise
する
you, we did not put laxatives in the coffee. Coffee is a sacred drink, remember?
Motherfucker. There's no doubt that the report omitted information linking Morgan to the Clarksons. I need to get him to confess. Oh yeah. There's a secret weapon in Agent Jones's briefcase.
じゃあちょっと先に。
Mr. Morgan, I heard that you were always a smoker. Did you ever wonder if that was the reason you contracted your illness?
What does that have to do with this case?
Nothing. I'm just personally curious
踏
about
み
it.
込んでくね。
Sometimes, people die in car accidents, regardless of how well they take care of their health. Other times, they slip on their bathroom floors and crack open their heads. Isn't that right, my fairy?
I'm not concerned with statistics. I'm just curious about you, right here, right now.
We switched over from nicotine to this. It's less addictive. That's one step in the right direction, isn't it?
Perhaps. If we're talking about withdrawal symptoms or physical dependencies. But it still seems like you're smoking too much at once.
もうね、さっきからずっと吸ってる。
Honestly, it looks to me like you have a mental dependency.
でもね、人の勝手だろって言いたい。
But so what if we do?
Surely you know about gateway
No.
drugs, yes? When a person starts to use one drug, it becomes much easier for them to
医
branch out
療
and
用
try
だっ
other
つっ
drugs
てん
as
だろ
well.
うが。
The first drug acts as the gateway that leads them to stronger substances.
Oh. Are you trying to say that's going to happen to us?
No. I'm simply saying there's a
でもこの
possibility.
タイミングでその話をするっていうか、そうだって言ってるようなもんだからね。本当に。アリアッチは。サイモンのカバン。
Have you ever seen this
サ
before?
ンルージュ。
And please, don't say no.
Sun Rouge. The drug we once chased. What about it?
Sang Rouge is still circulating.
そうなの？
It's changed shape and its composition is slightly different now. But it's still very much alive. But only in a very limited part of
あ
Louisiana.
あ、そうなんだ。
You aren't surprised? Did you somehow know this would happen?
Copies of another drug being circulated isn't exactly a rare case.
But Sang Rouge is special. The inimitable Enigma powder. The origin. It has many names, and no one was ever able to copy it. We've also been trying to figure out what it's made from ever since it appeared. But it's impossible to analyze.
そうなんだ。
After all, it appears to be made from common ingredients that can be found anywhere. But if you try to use those ingredients, all you'll end up with is a mundane hallucinogen like DMT. If you... No. Sang Rouge requires a special recipe. The original recipe, which someone's been guarding this entire time. Someone who survived the incident in Le Carré.
それがザックだって言いたいのか？
Immediately after they found Lisa's body, I went to go see Patricia. In order to interrogate her, of course.
So you told us.
But I was unable to meet with her.
そうなの？
She refused to speak with you, didn't she? That's so like her.
No, she didn't get the chance to. You see, she's gone
お、
missing.
行方不明なの？
What?
To put it more accurately, no one's seen her since the afternoon of the 28th. According to her employees, she shut herself up in her room for several months before she disappeared. But since that sort of thing happened often, they didn't think anything of it. On the morning of New Year's Eve, they noticed her window was open, and when they went up to check on her, she was gone. But no one knows how long her window had been open for. This is just my hypothesis, but on December 28th, a strange man visited Le Carré and was spotted near her mansion. That man must have found some way to lure Patricia into his car, the '89 Cadillac that he bought used. Then, the two of them drove north to Trenton, where they boarded a train to Boston. They would have arrived here around midnight on the 29th, or perhaps early morning on the 30th. I believe this man is the same Billy Bishop whose name was previously recorded by the airline. So, what do you think of my guess? I'd love to hear your opinion as a former FBI special agent.
Now we get it. We aren't persons of interest. We're the suspects. But what about our alibi?
What alibi?
I've had enough of your bullshit. You expect me to believe you haven't taken a single step out of this room? That Agent Jones is your witness? Surveillance cameras can easily be tampered with, especially by someone like you, who knows all about how the FBI works.
You're possessed by death. Go and take a look at your own face in the mirror. You look like the Grim Reaper. After you visited both Le Carré and Greenvale, you left a mountain of corpses in your wake. You can make all the excuses you want. I'm immune to them. Right here, right now, I want to know everything. You tell me the truth.
Yes! You're good, Belle. Damn good. You're brimming with potential. Don't you think she's the perfect partner for our last dance? What do you say, my fairy? Don't you agree? She's good. So good. What do you want to know? We've got nothing to hide. Go on. Question us. This is how it's got to be. Doesn't this remind you of something? You know what I mean, my fairy?
いやー、ザックさん、だいぶ来ちゃってますね。はい、2005年、ルイジアナ州ル・カレ、戻ってまいりましたね。保安官事務所。おっと
Son of a... How did this happen in my town? God damn it! The head and limbs were severed and lined up, according to the lines that were drawn with her blood. Just like migratory birds flying systematically across the sky. Hey, Zach, what do you think this means?
They're severed roots.
パーティー。
Severed roots?
This is the way the Clarksons kill someone when they want to cut him off from the family.
And how do you know about this?
Everyone in town knows about it. They're just too scared to talk.
What does the V stand for, then?
Beats me. What, you think I know everything now?
Vilitatio. It means quarrel in Latin. That's what the V stands for.
Latin. Intriguing, isn't it, Zach? There are no defense wounds on the corpse. In other words, Galena showed no signs of resistance when she was amputated. But, strangely enough, there are small traces of subcutaneous bleeding around the wounded areas. That's a vital reaction, which means she couldn't have been dead.
You mean...
Yes, that's right, Patty. Galena was amputated while she was still alive, and she never resisted.
Is that even possible?
It certainly isn't impossible. For example, if she was put to sleep with a drug, or if she desired the amputation herself.
Why would she ever desire that?
Mr. York, I'm sorry, but there ain't no way that could have happened.
How can you be sure of that, Melvin? Our world contains phenomena that could never be explained with logic. This is especially true for phenomena in which humans are involved. Do you really think all the facets of love and hate can be explained with logic?
Well, no, I don't reckon I do. Yeah, might be too early to rule out those possibilities, just like you say.
Zach, now we truly know just how deeply the Clarksons are involved with this. Patty, how long does it take to reach the Clarkson estate?
Just a short drive. You just gotta head west along the Mississippi. You can't miss it.
Got it. Thank you, Patty. By the way, Melvin, no matter how accelerated Patty may be, don't you think she's still a bit too young to see something like this? For the record, I have no intent to instruct others on how to raise their children, but...
Holy moly, you're right! Patricia, CLG! Come on, sweetie. Kids shouldn't have to see stuff like this.
Daddy, it's too late now.
Ah. のっけから死んでますわ。はい。パティ、お話ししようか。
You sure you okay, CLG?
I'm fine. Besides, I'm used to seeing stuff like
いや、
that
も
on
う作り物やが
CSI.
な。
You're the one who looks pale, Daddy.
Well, it did shake me up a little, but I'll be back to normal in no time. Sorry about that, Mr. York. What say we rest in the interrogation room till we all calm down, CLG?
Sure thing, Daddy. I'm gonna go sit with Daddy for a bit, Agent York.
うん、
We can join back up later.
そうだな。アディ、優秀な助手だからな。うん。
Galena killed her daughter, so her family cut ties with her. Do you really think that's what happened here, Zach? If this is truly the ritual that the Clarksons used to cut ties, why would they go out of their way to do it here? In a whole, they could have easily done it after we released her. And judging from how Danny Clarkson was acting, I think it's clear that he really loved Galena. How could he accept this grotesque butchering, even if it was for the sake of the family? There's no point in ruminating on this. We should get back to the investigation. As long as we keep moving, the answer will inevitably fling itself straight at us.
あ、とりあえずロビーに向かえってことね。あんな、俺ガリーナが2人目のなると思ってたんだけど、本当になったな。お、来た？うんがん。
You found the flying serpent, but now the flying serpent will come to find you.
Yeah, that sounds right. And it looks like this flying serpent is a venomous one.
Some become feasts, while others are eaten alive. Which fate would you prefer?
Both sound marvelous, but let me check with Zach.
A fine answer. Find the one who fired the pistol at heaven. Within the white hall of beds, brandish the ticket to the goddess. And once again, you will see the other world. Do you comprehend the oracle?
Zach, it looks like he's hell-bent on leading us back into that other world.
Follow the oracle.
Oh, I will, Hungan. There are only two types of things in our world. Things that should be resisted and things that should be accepted. And I believe this oracle is something to accept. Do you think we're crazy for believing everything that skeletal gentleman says?
まあ思うけどな。
No, we're not crazy. Not one bit. But I shouldn't need to explain that to you, Zach. The one who fired the pistol at heaven. Firing pistols at the sky might be a rather common occurrence for the South. Remember? Young Guns, 1988, directed by Christopher Kane. There's that great scene where Emilio Estevez keeps firing his Colt M1877 up at the sky. Well, but that film took place in New Mexico, didn't it? And the Oracle probably isn't referring to a situation like that. It's got to be for some purpose other than an attack or a threat. Raising a pistol up to the sky, then slowly pulling the trigger, kind of sounds like the start to a race. Don't you agree, Zach?
レース？でもファームぐらいしファームだかな。ファームかな。
Bingo, Zach.
あ、合ってた。
We're currently running a race here. And the one who started this murder investigation is indeed the one who fired the pistol at heaven. In other words, the person who first discovered the body.
ああ、そういうことね。
According to the files, Lisa's body was discovered by Chuck Thompson.
ザリガニ漁師。へえ。
He apparently works out of a fishing hut located in the marshes south of the bayou. Let's go pay him a visit. Who knows? We might even get to see some crawfish. What? Why isn't the murderer the one who started this race? Zach, this isn't like you. Of course the murderer isn't the one who started the race. The murderer's running it.
戦
They're
闘なんだ。
currently in first
あ
place, and they're breaking all the
あ、
rules.
そういうことね。
Any more objections, Zach?
なるほど。
Within the
Yeah.
White Hall of Beds. This one is even easier. There are only a few establishments that have a whole hall's worth of beds, especially in a small town like this. I'm sure you've already got a pretty good idea
いや、
about what
ホ
the
テル、
answer is, Zach.
ホテルかい？
Beds all lined up. Only an amateur would hear that and think it must be referring to a brothel. I mean, come on. Who would ever use White Hall as a symbol for a bordello? No, a white house refers to the same place no matter what country you're in. You really think that's a white
違
hall?
う。あ、じゃあ、やっぱ、
Sorry, but I have to
すまん
disagree.
すまん。
There's a more obvious, a place that anyone would think of.
俺、病院だと思ったんだけど、
Jars of medicine and white smocks. That's right. It's a place where people dress in
病院
all
ある
white.
これ。
And this town doesn't have any labs in it, which means there can only be one answer.
こうなると、
You
教
never
会しかない
disappoint
ね
me, Zach.
教会なんだよ。
It's a medical facility.
ああ、医療施設なの教会。福音。
They invite their patients into rooms full of beds where they're tended to by doctors and nurses clad in white. It's definitely a white hall. You always manage to impress me with your intuition. I'm really counting on you here, Zach. And I know I'll always be able to.
はい。
Agent York, you're trying to leave without your trustworthy assistant?
Hello there, Patty. I'd never attempt such a thing. I was simply engaging in a battle of wits with Hoongan while I waited for you.
Hoongan?
Yes, the skeletal gentleman in the top hat.
Not that story again. Is this how you always conduct your investigations?
This is the way I work.
I bet you can't find a single partner. Not even in the entire FBI.
That's not true. I always work together with Zach.
Oh, right. Zach. Don't worry. I'll be your partner while you're here in our town. Now, let's go investigate.
はい。23と27、第一発見者と医療施設。この2つね。まあ、じゃあ、今回はこの辺で終わりにして、次回はまあ、第一発見者の方行ってみますかね。ザリガニ漁師の小屋。でまあ、その後、時間あったらそのまま、福音教会周辺か、まあまあ、どうなるかはわかりませんが、今日はこの辺で終わりたいと思います。はい。ということで、ご視聴ありがとうございました。